Oh, hi there. Wasn't quite sure if it had gone live or not. And then I got a little notice after it starts that it says you're live. Fantastic. Okay, so welcome to another reading. This is going to be short and sweet, I think. Here we go. The Token of Givingness. The first quote is from someone I quote in other things, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who was a French-Canadian Jesuit. Spent a lot of his life in the US. I think he lived his final years in the New York area. He actually met Jean Houston when she was a little girl. And he was not very popular with the Vatican because they didn't like his views. However, he was very smart in more ways than one. And one way was that he bequeathed all his writings to a friend, and so the Vatican could not get their hands on them and stop them being published. So he was more of a free thinker. And anyway, oh dear me, this thing is, oh, I really don't know what's going on with this browser. I got to figure it out. Okay, here we go. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. The consciousness of each of us is evolution looking at itself and reflecting upon itself. The consciousness of each of us is evolution looking at itself and reflecting upon itself. And you can probably understand from that why the Vatican didn't like him. First, the next piece from Ernest Holmes is actually from the Beverly Hills Lectures. We talked previously, if you remember, that Ernest Holmes would give lectures at different places. He wasn't on his own in doing this. A lot of people did. They would attract thousands of people, and this is from the Beverly Hills Lectures. And it's a compendium of these lectures, and it's on page 51. He says, in the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father, if you like, Jesus was saying that when the kingdom of God comes on earth and the will of God is done on earth, then that which is in heaven, which is already there, will find its correspondence on earth. That the time will come when we are aware that it is now here, and to us not until that time, because the divine offering is forever made. Hang in there. Our whole process of evolution is the accumulation of our acceptances of that which is forever given, and forever given by the same token of givingness as we forgive. This is the way it is. We heal people of the fear of hell and damnation, of God, man, and the devil. There is nothing to be afraid of. Perfect love casts out all fear, including fear of the thought of death or dying. And as I said, that's from the Beverly Hills Lectures. This is what Ernest Holmes is. This is how Reverend Jesse interprets Ernest Holmes there. As above, so below, begins an hermetic axiom. And here, Ernest Holmes is pointing out the subjective side of the matter, which is that something is only as real to us as our awareness and experience of it. We're evolving into greater acceptance of the presence of the divine nature, individually and collectively. Nothing else has worked in terms of lasting peace in the heart, because nothing less than this can work. We heal others of fear as we face our own lives in love. And this is evolutionary too. Instead of just bouncing from religious doctrine to doctrine, true understanding happens when we take up our spiritual birthright as expressions of the One. So if you want to look at it in a nutshell, what they're saying is that we are expressions of the divine, and that heaven comes to earth when we realize that, and that we can actually have the power within us to demonstrate here on earth. So in other words, as Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said, that each of us in our own individual consciousness is God looking at itself and reflecting on itself, or the divine looking at itself and reflecting on itself. And we've said this numerous times. But I like I actually like what Jesse says here. We heal others of fear as we face our own lives in love. Why? Because we're all interconnected. And this is evolutionary too. In other words, it continues on through the race. Instead of just bouncing from religious doctrine to religious doctrine, true understanding happens when we take up our spiritual birthright as expressions of the one. When we realize that we are expressions of the divine, that is when we are starting to realize what life is all about, that we are God expressing God. His affirmation is, I let my soul be lifted up in song to the giver of all life and to the joy of living. I let my soul be lifted up in song to the giver of all life and to the joy of living. So in other words, you could say we live in the present moment and we live in the knowledge that we're expressions of the divine. And really, that's all I got time for, because I got a lot to do this evening. If it's unclear, text me, email me, and we'll attempt to make it more clear. So until next time, around about 5 o'clock tomorrow, and Reverend Lisa will be back at 9:30 tomorrow, reading from the Science of Mind textbook. So until next time,